Odell said during the preseason that the plan was to defer to you guys, the training staff, when it came to dealing with this hip injury because he would push it too hard if it were left up to him. Do you feel good about that plan in terms of getting him healthy and ready for Tennessee?
Odell's ready to go. So, yeah, I feel good about the plan.
Along those lines, Freddie, have you seen a noticeable difference in him? I know health was an issue during preseason, but just kind of him ramping it up here over the last week or so.
I think there's a couple of different stages in the season. I think the speed of the game is one thing in training camp. It's another thing during the latter part of training camp. First week of the season is another tempo. And I don't want to make it sound like there's just the game is faster. Then you get to the end of the season with playoff hopes on the line. It's another speed. And then you get to playoffs, it's a whole nother speed. And then the Super Bowl is another speed. So there's several different tempos, and I think, you know, I don't know if I've answered your question, but yes, I've seen it, but he's not the only one. I've seen it under the sense of urgency. I kept talking about that a couple of weeks ago because we wanted to continue to strive to increase the sense of urgency. And I think that's what you see a lot of times. You know, I've got to get this right. I've got to run this perfect. I've got to throw this perfect. I got to cover this guy with inside leverage. I got to pressure in the beak out. So the sense of urgency with these guys definitely increased, and it needs to. And I think it has been over the past week and a half.
Do you think it changed after the struggles offensively against Tampa Bay? And did you see the same thing out of Baker?
Well, again, there's a lot of things going on during that game, and honestly, I'm going to refer my comment about the rearview mirror. I'm not really worried about Tampa, but I think the sense of urgency has picked up offensively, and I think it's picked up defensively, and I think it continues to need to rise, and I think it will. I have no doubt. I have total confidence in our guys are going to prepare the way they need to prepare, and then I have total confidence that they're going to play the way they need to play.
Couple more.
I know Monday you said about the right guard situation. You said what you said. Does anything change after that practice?
Who?
The right guard situation. You go in with Kush.
Yeah, that's who we're going with right now. Yep.
There you go, Freddie Kitchens. This portion of More Sports and Less Levine brought to you by Northeast Factory Direct with 3 great locations, east and west and south, now in Macedonia. You're smiling, you're laughing. What's
I'm
up?
ecstatic we're finally here. This is week 1 of the NFL season. You know, we have not had a show like this since, what, February when the Super Bowl was? So finally, games count again in the NFL. The most lengthy, agonizing offseason with all these quotes.
12 months.
Oh, my gosh. That's the thing. I wish this game, the NFL game, did not take such a toll physically on its players, because if it didn't, give me 20 games, give me 22 games. But obviously it does. You pretty much have to keep it at 16. I would advocate a few more bye weeks. Why not add a few bye weeks into every schedule
because the weather
to stretch the regular season
Weather's a problem at the end. All right, so I've been doing this show, doing a lot of radio on 92.3 The Fan, and when you bring up the record, when people talk about the record, I have not heard anything. I haven't even heard 500. I haven't heard 8-8. I've heard nothing but stuff above 8 wins. And I'm just wondering, you could still get 10 wins if you struggle early on. That's scheduled in the beginning. You could be 0-3 just as easily as 3-0. And I hate to be negative here.
You're right, Les. You know, in 9 and 10 wins, I keep bouncing. I was talking to John in the control room before the show. I keep going between 9 and 10, 9 and 10, 9 and 10. I don't fall below 9. I don't fall above or go above it at 10. But your point about the first 3, I mean, the Titans, I know the Browns are thinking this. Hopefully the fans will too. It is no pushover, okay? Mike Vrabel's Titans are a well-coached, nasty team. Their defense is good. You're going to get the healthiest version of Marcus Mariota you'll get all year, because he's typically banged up by the end of the year.
And you got Vrabel with the local ties coming in. He wouldn't want anything better than to beat the Browns
and they're going to be feeding off this countless, you know, all of the praise of the Browns and the hype. They're going to use that as fuel. And I'm one of those who doesn't believe in the bulletin board material on the professional side, but they'll certainly use it early, and then it becomes talent versus talent and scheme versus scheme. But if they stumble against the Titans, then you got to go to Monday night. The Jets, who knows how good they might be
at home?
We'll find out
at their home.
But they're feeling good about themselves.
Yep.
You're on the road Monday night. Darnold, Le'Veon Bell. And then if you happen to go 0-2, you got to face the defending NFC champion Rams in a primetime game at home. So you're right. It could be 3-0, 2-1. It could be 1-2,
could be anything.
0-3.
Nothing would surprise me. I think that's fair to say.